Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, hope you like this video, and if you do, join the gang and subscribe. You'll be very welcome, and it helps me grow the channel, and you get to see all my other silly content I've done, and hopefully you'll get to learn some stuff too, and you get to see as many new releases as I can try and get my hands on, and you get to see my perspective on them. So today's review is going to be effectively, I'm going to run through the stats and the specs of this new SE-32 model, and then I'm going to give you my likes and my dislikes, and at the end you'll get an idea of what my overall thoughts are of this watch. And spoiler alert, I love it. I'm keeping it. It's not a watch I'm going to flip like I do a lot of my watches to keep the money flowing to fund this channel. That's how much this one has impressed me, and you want to see why? You better watch the rest of this review. Guys, we have a special guest who's going to join us today. Apart from my usual assistants to this channel, Geepass and Minch, if you don't know who they are, you're going to meet them very soon. I have a new introduction, and that is white gloves. I listened to you guys because you made some fair comments, some of you. My review for the Steel Dive SD 1958, there's a lot of high polished surfaces on that. And as I was handling the watch to present it to you, like you do when you're doing a review of a watch and showing it all the different surfaces, etc., I was just having a nightmare, and I've had it a few times. Obviously, when you're handling a watch, really showing it around, you are going to get fingerprints and smudges on it. Let's start with the trusty assistance of my good friend Geepass, who is a reliable and accurate assistant to this channel, because he helps me with just sharing you the weight of the watch. Was 153 grams, which, if you want to know what that actually means, if you've never seen a watch review before, for a sports watch or a watch with a bracelet, a good sweet spot for most people for it to feel comfortable and not too heavy or not too light and cheap on their wrist is around 150 grams. So next we're going to have Minch, who's going to help us out with the sizings. Everything here is in millimeters, so we've got 40.2 mil for the case size. The height of the watch to the center of the slightly domed crystal is 14. The lug to lug, which is the length of the watch, is 48. And then if you include these slightly tapering down male solid end links, it goes up a little bit in size to 53. Then we've got a crown which tapers from 7 mil down to 5 mil. So it's got a nice tapered design to that crown. Very nice. The bracelet goes from 20 millimeters down to about 17.5 from memory. I'll show you. Yeah, about 17.8. Then we have the clasp here. Just shut that here. Again, it's almost exactly the same. It's slightly wider, but if I include the pushers, it goes up to just over 20. Really nice proportions on this watch. So we've got a double pusher, and this part of the butterfly mechanism. This isn't actually engaging with in that part there where the release mechanism is. This actually has little dimples here, little bits that help this to grip into there. It's a really positive feel. It just grips it enough. It's not meant to like lock it securely, because this part is what does that job. See, there's a male and female part that engage with each other here, as you can see there, and then that clicks tight, and there's zero play in there. Really nice. An adjustment for this bracelet is screw link, so you need a 1 mil watchmaker screwdriver to undo these screws, and you can size it for you. I took 2 links out of this. That would add probably 8 to 10 grams in weight overall, so the overall weight of this watch is approaching 160-ish. So that's to give you an indication of the weight difference just a few links would make. And you know that if you've got an 8-inch wrist, this may just about fit you. But you can go down quite a bit. So this may suit the medium to smaller wrist sizes. So the other thing that's worth mentioning is also the dial size, because a lot of people like to know the dial size. It's useful for them. So it's approximately 31, 32 mil. And what that means is it's a well-proportioned watch for its dial to case size ratio. So that is an important bit of information, because some watches can be over-dialed or under-dialed. And again, that's what can help with the proportion and look of a watch, is how well it's been designed. So the finish of this watch, we've got lovely, very incredibly good brushing, very smooth. Try and get some focus here and get some close-ups. You're going to see some micro scratches on it because I have worn this a lot. But look how smooth that brushing is. And then we look at the transition from the brushing to the polished chamfered edges on this lug here. It's very consistent, very smooth. The polishing is really consistent. There's only one little imperfection I noticed when I got the watch, which I polished out. It was just about there, and it was just a dull spot, a little bit of metal polish, and it literally matches the rest of that center link, which is, as you see, is polished all the way around, and the sides of the bracelet are all polished as well. It's got a really good balance of brushed and polished, in my opinion. So I feel I've been quite thorough with discussing the weight, the sizes and things like that. Now I need to know, what's this made of? Well, it's 316L stainless steel, which is pretty much the steel they use on most watches nowadays. And the movement inside is a Seiko NH35, and this actually has the black date wheel, which is really good because the white of the numbers on the date wheel match all the white of the numbering around here on the minute track. Nice little detail. Don't know if it's intentional or not, but if it was, good job. The loom on here is a kind of bluey colour. I'm going to try and get some footage of that for you now. The loom on this is very strong, very bright, and a gorgeous minty blue colour. I really like it. But the one thing I've noticed is the 10 o'clock index is slightly duller than the rest. That's the only thing I noticed. Otherwise, this is quite strong. I've noticed it. It's not one of those kind of looms that only is good for show on a video. It's actually useful, and it's on the hands as well, which is what you want, and it's been really well applied. The crystal, the synthetic sapphire, which is domed, and what that means is dome on the top, as you can see, is a nice subtle raising of the crystal, but it's flat on the underside. And I can tell because often when you hold a double dome crystal like this, you see little tiny little distortions underneath the crystal, and it's a lovely little feature, but that costs a lot more to produce. Bear in mind this watch is just over £70, so to have a sapphire crystal of any sort is a pleasure, and the fact you have all the other really good spec features on here is another bonus. Now let's look at the back of the watch. This is a great way of you seeing that Seiko NH35. I know it's not the most glamorous of movements, but it's nice to see it in there, you know. And this movement is a really good, reliable, they call it a workhorse movement, and that effectively means it's just going to get the job done. It's reliable, it's rugged, it's just going to work. They don't have many problems. They're reliable and accurate, and I'm looking to invest in a time grapher machine to actually measure every watch I get in the future, how well it's actually going to be keeping time. So like I said, you can see that movement through the back, screw case back, and that isn't sapphire on the back. From what I understand, it's just regular mineral glass. And we have solid end links. Now I've taken this bracelet off a few times because I like to try it on some of my own straps for my store. Now these end links are incredibly well fitting. They're not tight, they're not loose, they are effectively perfect in there. There's no play, but they're not so tight that when you want to take the bracelet off, it's too difficult, because I've had that before. So these end links fit really well, very well made, I must say. And the brushing even underneath, that's been done really well too. How smooth it is. You know the difference between good and bad brushing, because bad brushing, it looks like someone's been at it with literally a wire brush. This looks like it's really smooth, refined, consistent. These are things that I look for when I'm looking at the quality of finishing on a watch. That's where this excels. Now it's time for me to move on to my likes and my dislikes, because we're getting to that stage where I can analyze and show to you why I've fallen for this watch so much, because it does so much right. So let's get at my wrist while I discuss these features, because let's say put it on that side first, then you click it there. So the fit and the finish for this price point is incredible. I've had £500 watches finish the same as this, and I'm not joking. It's that good. It's not perfect. I've had 2 issues which I'll talk about in my dislikes, but other than that, this is incredible. There's no fluff under the dial. I like all these little bits where they haven't rushed the watch. They do that little bit extra, which you should have on any watch. No signs of quality control being you know, a bit lax. And this is great. This is really impressively done. Like I said, there's no fluff under the dial. There's no sloppy bits on the bracelet and things like that. The threading of the crown is very consistent and smooth. There's no grittiness. There's no snagging. I love the dial design, and I love these as well. Look, there's a combination of brushed and polished on these indices all the way around. How nice is that? The hands are really well finished. I love the sunburst and line striped dial as well. That's really smart. I love the black date wheel. The loom colour, I really think that's fantastic. It's better than the usual green you get. And this bracelet, I like that finally I've got a butterfly clasp bracelet that actually fits me perfectly. I've worn this and it is so comfortable. I've worn it on days where I've been hot and cold. It's not felt loose. It's not felt tight. I'm really impressed. So I'm just satisfied that this fits me so well. That adds to the pleasure of buying and wearing a watch. I'm really happy with that. So, like I've said as well, the spec on this is fantastic. I love knowing I'm getting so much for my money, and that's, I know, what you guys appreciate too. You're getting so much for your money. Sapphire, great movement, all stainless steel, really good fit and finish, and it's comfortable and it's pretty. And you don't have to have it in this colour. You can have it, so there's other options. You can have it with Phylida on the dial if you wish. There's some good choices. Let's move on to my negatives and then final conclusion, because I could waffle forever about this watch. I'm so happy with it. So the dislikes are that slightly faded bit of loom on the 10 o'clock index. The sterile aspect of it has gone overkill. I want a sterile dial, but I wouldn't mind having some signed crown or some text on the underside on the screw case back, or maybe some etching here or a logo here, just to help break up the sterility of this watch. I didn't like there was a few little issues. I've had a cross-threaded screw in one of the links in the bracelet, but luckily it's not become an issue. But that was still a little bit of an annoyance and disappointment, considering how well everything else has been achieved with the bracelet. Then there was a little bit of poor polishing on this center link here, but knowing how easy it is to polish metal, I knew I could solve that problem. But other than that, that's all I've noticed. I wouldn't mind AR coating, because in certain light conditions, having the domed glass, it can be a little bit difficult to read the watch sometimes because of the polished hands and the quite dark dial. The hands can almost disappear. So that's a little issue. Maybe the arrow head could have been bigger, just to have more loom in it, just so it just contrasts better with the dial, so it just stands out more and it's a bit easier. Maybe the same with the hour hand, but to be honest, I'm being really picky here, to be fair, because no watch is perfect. This is the things I've noticed in owning it. So what's my final conclusion, guys? I'm keeping this watch for all the reasons why I've stated in the positive section, and that is because it ticks so many boxes for me, and it's a really comfortable, really well proportioned watch with fantastic set of specs. And you've got a few variations in the dial design and color, you know, that's great. You've got a bit of choice there, but the price as well, less than £100, and it's really, really good. It's really comfortable, really achievable price, and worthy of the attention of your collection, because you could wear this as an everyday watch, or it could be something, because of the polished aspects, you could wear it as a little bit more of a smart casual watch if you wanted. It's very, very versatile timepiece. And that's why it's such a success. I could wear this to work, or I could wear it going out for dinner. Fantastic. So I hope you liked my take on it and have enjoyed me wearing my white glove. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.